Good morning. Today we're looking at central tendency, aka the average. This really gives an idea of what to expect with a set of information. I might incorporate some whatever else. I have a link, I guess. I'll take a look, share that with you. Anyways, there's three main types of central tendency. It's basically how you describe information when you're talking about averages. And there's three ones to look at. The very first one, maybe you've not heard of this before, is the median. The median is a middle number in a set of data that has been arranged in order. And that's very important. You want to make sure that you arrange your information in order. So if you had, say, the numbers 7, 4, and 6, these are not in order. You would need to first arrange them in order. It would go 4, then 6, then 7. If I was to say, what's the median of these three numbers? It's the middle number, 6. If I looked at this original three piece of information and you said, oh, 4 is the middle number, that's not the median though. It has to be arranged in ascending order. So 4, 6, 7, the middle value when there's an odd set of data. Where is the median useful? Well, it's really good when the information you're looking for is very spread out or has outliers. And we will be looking a little bit at what outliers are, but it's essentially information that's really outside of the normal. So if we were looking at average heights of people in a classroom, and say it was a kindergarten classroom, and you took everyone's height and you determined, okay, what's the average height of everybody? And you had most students at 3 feet or so. And then one individual was 6'4". And you're like, whoa, what happened here? Well, that was the teacher. If you were to determine what the median, the average of all those students was, the teacher would cause the average value to be really, really skewed. It would be way higher than what it should be. So what you can do is find the median value. You would list all the students' heights as well as the teacher's height in order, and then the middle value, that would be your median. It's also useful calculating the average house price when there are a few really high values. So you're looking in 5th Estate Avenue and you're saying, what are the value of some of these houses? And then you take the median average. There might be one house that's very, very expensive and the rest are just expensive, not very, very expensive. And that one very, very expensive house could cause all of the other house averages to go up if you were to average everything out. So instead, you can use the median where you're just picking the middle house value. So if there's like 20 houses in a particular area, in that case, it's going to look a little bit different. We'll take a look at how do you calculate the median when there's an even set of data right away. So let's get into that. How do you actually calculate the median? Well, for what two versions are there? The first one is for an odd number of pieces in the data set. We gave an example of what that is. If there's 3 pieces of information, it's the middle number. So list your data in ascending order. That's step 1. That is exactly what I did. I had 7, 4, 6, 3 pieces of information, put them in ascending order. Then you find the middle number. The middle number in this set is 28. So I listed a bunch of numbers here. How do we know that? Let's actually take a look and see what that really is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 pieces of information. If you want to say what is the middle number, one thing you could do is start crossing them off. So if you cross the lowest, you cross the highest, cross the lowest and the highest. And you continue in this method here until you're left with just one value. You could also say, well, what value is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 5th number. It's the 5th number. Here's another way to do it instead of counting every single one. What you could do is take the total pieces of information. There are 9 pieces of information. You divide this by 2, and 2 goes into 9 4.5 times, and then you just round it up, and then it's going to be the 5th number. The same thing as when we cross them off. So you could just cross them off, But if you have lots of pieces of information, say 30, maybe you don't want to just cross them off. you want to count. So if you count to the 5th number, how do you do that? By going the total number divided by 2 and then just round it up. That's going to be telling you what number it is. All right, so that's with an odd set of information. Here it's pretty easy. If you just added these up right over here, there's three numbers, so 3 divided by 2. If we looked over here, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. You round that up, it's the second number. So the second number, 1, 2, this is the middle number. It's very easy to do when there's only 3 pieces of information. It becomes a little bit harder when there's 9 pieces of information. It becomes even harder when there's, say, 35 pieces of information. The second way, not always will you have an odd set of data. What happens if you have an even set of data? Well, in that case, you're going to have your even number. Even number of pieces in the data set. You're going to list your data also still in ascending order, and then average. Average the two middle numbers. Average the middle two. Probably should be middle two numbers there. Average the middle two numbers to find the mean. And the mean is another word for average, and we'll be learning that right away. Mean is average. For example, the mean of this set of data is, well, what are the two middle numbers? So we can do it in 2 ways again. We can go crossing off. So we begin crossing these pieces off here. So 1 on either side, this side, that side, we're left with 2. When you're left with 2 pieces of information, you're going to be adding both of those values, which is what you're seeing over here. It's 28 plus 29 in brackets. That should be kind of in brackets over here. All divided by 2. So it's this answer divided by 2. You're going to get 28 and a half. 28 and a half would be your median for this second example here. The second way to find these pieces of information, if we look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's the 5th and 6th number. It's the 5th and 6th number. How do you find that? Well, how many pieces of information are there, first of all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we start off in the exact same way as before, 10 divided by 2 is 5. It's going to be the 5th number. And then because there's 2 numbers, it's going to be the 5th number and then the number after that. So it'll be the 5th and 6th number. So you count over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The 5th and 6th numbers, you're adding those together and averaging them. What you're finding the mean, which is the average. So when there's an even set of data and you're trying to find the median, you put them in ascending order. You then determine what are the 2 middle numbers by either crossing them off or by dividing by 2 and taking that number and the next number. And then taking the average of those 2 numbers. There's a second way here, the mode. That's another way in which to express the central tendency, to say, what is happening here? The mode is the number that occurs most frequently. There can either be no mode, 1, or multiple modes. This is something that most businesses use. While at Dairy Queen, we'd often do information where we'd say, wait a minute, what's happening? How many blizzards are being sold? How many smalls are being sold? How many mediums? How many larges? How many Oreo blizzards are being sold? Smartie blizzards, cookie dough blizzards, Score blizzards, Reese's Pieces, all of that. We could then determine what was the most popular. The most popular is what the mode is. It's the number that occurs most frequently. So we'd have all kinds of different categories. Do small blizzards sell more than mediums? Do mediums sell more than larges? And mediums definitely sell more than larges, at least for blizzard wise. But that would be information that's useful to know. If you're stocking shoes at a Foot Locker that Mr. Fast used to work at, he was one of the top salespeople, actually. He did a very good job selling shoes before he became a teacher. And they would have to stock shoes. What pairs of sizes would be most likely to sell? Those would be the ones that you would want to have more of than others because you're selling them more frequently. So the mode is very important in expressing central tendency and saying what's the average or what value is most represented here. If the average shoe size is 10, but most of your shoe sizes sold are 8, you probably want to stock up on size 8. So even though the average shoe size is 10, it's based on your business. So maybe less people that are size 10 are buying from your business. Then why do you need to have what the average size is? Have what is being most sold at your store. You want to curtail to the customer. So the way to calculate mode is quite simple. You just look at the piece of information. You say, okay, how many of these numbers appear? If we look back to the first example here, 4, 6, 7, there would be no mode. There was no numbers that repeated. Absolutely none. If we look to this information right over here, we have 23, 4, 26, 26, 28, 29, 33, 133. There are two 26s. If we said, what's the mode within this information here, the answer would be 26, as there are two 26s. In this set of data here, there are two 26s. There is 28, 29, 33, 133, 34. So again, this would be our mode, would be 26. Now, if for whatever reason we had one more piece of information, let's say 34, now we would have two modes. We would have the number 26 and 34 as they both repeat twice. You could also have another 34, and now there would only be a mode of 34, as 34 is the most frequently occurring number. There's only one most frequently occurring. But if you added another 26, and now there's three 26s, three 34s, there would again be two modes, 26 and 34. So it is based on how many values you have. It's the most frequently occurring one out there. So you could have 0 modes, like we did for this example here. You could have one mode like you have over here with 26, or in this example here, you could have two modes, 26 and 34. The last way to define central tendency is the mean, which is basically the average. Add all the numbers up in the data set, divide by the number of numbers. What the heck does that mean? It means the following. If you have three values, 4, 6, and 7, you would just go like this and say 4 plus 6 plus 7 divided by 3. There are three numbers here. So we'd add all this up. That's 17 over 3, which becomes 5 and 6/7, or 5.8. That would be your mean, your average, if you had this information right here. If you were using this information, you have 9 numbers here, so you would go 23 plus 24 plus 26 plus 26 plus 28 plus 29 plus 30 plus 31 plus 33, all divided by 9 numbers. So if we plug that in here, 23 plus 24 plus 26 plus 26, and don't forget repeats do count a second time, 29 plus 30 plus 31 plus 33. You're going to have a value of 250. So it would be 250 divided by 9. Divide this by 9. Our average value is going to be 27.8 if we round that. 27.8. That would be for the 9 pieces of information for this one right over here, average. It's 9 numbers, add up all the 9 numbers, you get an answer of 250. Divide by 9, there are 9 numbers. That's the mean. Now, how do you remember all this? Well, à la mode is a French word that means fashionable. It also refers to a popular way of serving ice cream, or so I've been told. So mode is the most popular or fashionable member of a set of information or numbers. The word mode is also like most. Both start with MO. For the mean requires you to do arithmetic or math, adding all the numbers and dividing. So that's the mean one. Ha ha. And lastly, the median has the same number of letters as middle. So middle number, the median value, correlate together. All right, let's take a look at an example here. A sandwich shop records the shop sales for 1 week. There's 40 tuna, 58 egg, 76 veggie, 65 ham and cheese, and so on. The list goes on and on and on. Is the median or the mode a better way to determine the most popular sandwich? So if you're saying what's the most popular, you're going to want to go with mode. Mode defines which one occurs the most. So if you're saying which one is the most popular, you're just looking at which one is sold the most. So there's two that are sold the most. There's the veggie one, surprisingly enough, at 76, as well as the steak and cheese at 76 as well. That would be how I would determine the most popular sandwich, looking to which one is sold the most, looking for the mode. Calculate the mean, median, mode. So, well, we just did calculate the mode. You just look at the information right over here. You say what repeats the most. There is two that have 76. Everything else has less than that. So the mode here is number 76. If we're looking for the mean is going to be adding all those values up. 40 plus 58 plus 76 plus 65 plus 47 plus 61 plus 53 plus 41 plus 76 plus 68. All divided by how many numbers is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 different types of sandwiches sold. Let us punch this in here. We're going to have 40 plus 58 plus 76 plus 65, 47, 61, 53, 41, 76, and 68. 585. 585 divided by 10 is 58.5. And you could just punch that in on a calculator too. That should also make sense. It's kind of close to the middle. The last thing we need to do is find the median. The way to find the median is by writing the numbers in ascending order. And this isn't actually bad to do for finding the mode easier as well. So let's write them in ascending order here. See if we can do this. It appears the number is 40, then 41. And then it goes on from there. If you're looking around, there's a 47, a 53, a 58. In the 60s, there's a 61 and 65. And also a 68, followed by two 76s. I like to double check at the end here too, counting them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 pieces here. I'd already counted 10 over there. I know that there's 10 pieces here. So when calculating the median, we say if there's 10 pieces of information, you can use the math here and go 10 divided by 2. When there's an even set of information, it's going to be the fifth and sixth numbers. You could also do what we did before where you cross them off. And so if we cross them off, it's going to be the lowest and the highest. The lowest and highest each time until we're left with two pieces of information here, 58 and 61. So to find the median, you're just going to add them together and average them. So it's going to be 58 plus 61 divided by 2. Make sure it's in brackets if you're punching it in like that. So how would that look here? Go brackets, 58 plus 61 divided by 2 after you close the brackets. You're going to get 59 and a half. Your median is 59 and a half, your mean is 58 and a half, and your mode is 76. What that tells me is that these two 76s increase your average for your median by a little bit. So it might be more useful to go with the mean if you're determining what does the real average kind of look like. But again, if you're looking for most popular, you're looking at the mode. 76, it's going to be the veggie and the steak and cheese. That would be how you would read that and look over that, for example. That's going to be it for the notes today. Now it's up to you guys to attempt to practice what you just learned. Good luck and have fun.